Reflections, PBS, Power, and Postmodernism. Excerpts from Running on Emptiness, The Pathology of Civilization by John Zerzan.
Stand by for the opening night of the National Television Service. Hello there, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and children. This emblem that you've just seen is tonight the symbol of a historic occasion, the opening of the National Television Service, which of course is your television service. And we hope that tonight, and in the weeks and years to come, that you're going to see and enjoy a lot more of it.
The public broadcasting system produces programming toward a more manageable society. In fact, it is the network rather expressly for managers, and what it airs can best be understood by keeping in mind this service to the managing class. The exact ratio of corporate to government funding of PBS is inconsequential to its basic nature and function. Typically, it launders the image of oil giants and other corporate uglies via their tax-deductible underwriting of high culture, such as opera. Even more basically, it provides the illusion of an independent source of information while enforcing the dominant constraints as to what constitutes the acceptable or reputable in the ideas and information. PBS is innovative in one real sense, as a consistent promoter of the latest in high-tech impoverishment.
Artificial intelligence, or AI, is everywhere.
New York Public School District blocked access to the popular artificial intelligence tool ChatGPT earlier this month. It was the latest response to concerns over how rapidly changing technology is affecting our lives.
With Congress deadlocked on whether to approve tens of billions of dollars in additional aid for Ukraine, that nation's domestic arms industry is becoming increasingly important. And perhaps the most vital weapons system it's producing is an army of drones.
More than 40 states, plus the District of Columbia, have sued Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, accusing the tech giant of building addictive features into its popular social media platforms that contribute to a youth mental health crisis.
In the coming weeks and months, we're going to be exploring the newest developments in artificial intelligence and how it's changing the way we live and work. Stephanie Tsai kicks off our periodic series, The AI Frontier, with a look at some new tools that are getting attention and sparking concern over their ability to produce original work, ranging from college-level essays to art.
The last year has seen headlines of hope and outright fear around the rapid development of artificial intelligence, or AI. It leads to plenty of questions, including this: does innovation lead to broad gains for everyone? Economics correspondent Paul Salman focused on the connections between technology and prosperity.
Those who understand the importance of the computerization of life, in our most recent past, both Clinton and Gingrich, for instance, realize the vital PBS contribution in this area. Its completely nurtured environmentalism never hints at questioning the hierarchical organization of social existence which daily generates the global eco-crisis. This green veneer serves, in practice, as a perfect accompaniment to the real goal, namely the highest creative productivity of capital. PBS projects a superior code of diversity, tolerance, and fairness under which the essentials of modern, bereft, commodified life continue unaffected. This pretense of a calm, confident, rational social world is in stark contrast to the actual horrors and dislocations, psychic and public, of a stricken society. Stately British dramas like Masterpiece Theatre further this soothing overall tone of ruling class control. Small wonder that PBS sponsors are so often management services, computer firms, corporate lawyers, and others whose explicit function is the running of society in important capacities. All this is fairly transparent and hardly new. More recent is what seems to be a growing connection between PBS and the prevailing culture of postmodernism. A self-promotion spot highlights this nascent marriage between the managerial hegemony PBS aspires to and to the reigning cultural hegemony of postmodernism. The text of the promo encompasses virtually every important facet of the new postmodern creed, and it is easy to see how it serves explicit control aims. PBS celebrates itself and the divided society it serves in the same oath of allegiance. America's Storyteller. Welcome to a place that is always just beginning, that rouses itself day to day and year to year to admire what it's made, starting with nothing, then rushes to invent itself all over again. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things, knowing what goes on now goes on to shape tomorrow. Welcome to the land that is never exactly what you think it is, and will never stay that way for long. There are a million stories in the streets of the cities we never finish building. We intend to tell them all. The postmodern death of the subject announces the end of the individual, dissolved in language.
I'm Dr. Erica Brzozowski, sociolinguist and certified word nerd. On my show, Other Words, we delve into the amazing facets of human language, and the ability to read is one that almost defies logic. How can a brain that evolved like 100,000 years ago be so naturally good at a skill that we only invented 5,000 years ago? It's been called the paradox of reading. The answer may be that we've repurposed some existing brain functions for new uses. It's a theory neuroscientist Stanislas Dehaene calls neural recycling. By studying the neural patterns of monkeys, scientists have been able to discern how their brains identify and make sense of the contours and lines that make up visual scenes. A corner here, an edge there, some intersecting edges here. And it seems like there's a basic alphabet of simple shapes that their brains use to decode any number of possible scenes. What's interesting is, these shapes are remarkably similar to the strokes that make up most human writing. Whenever one object is behind another, you get a T shape. Corners of objects make L's and F's and Y's, and an O can be found in anything from a delicious fruit to the eye of a predator. What these shapes have in common is that they're non-accidental. If you threw a bunch of toothpicks on the floor, very rarely would 3 land with their ends perfectly touching. So if you see this pattern in real life, it's probably worth paying attention to, and our brains are especially adept at spotting it. Each pattern in this shape alphabet triggers neurons, and when certain combinations of neurons fire together, they trigger higher order neurons that help us eventually decode the meaning of an image. So this combination from our shape alphabet triggers the meaning cat, and so does this combination. Only one is a group of shapes in nature, and one is just a collection of lines on paper. Early alphabets that used such shapes allowed more people to read, and let them read faster, eventually replacing cumbersome pictographic writing systems like Egyptian hieroglyphics.
After the likes of Heidegger and Lacan, it is language itself that does the talking, which parallels the real. Capital has swallowed up the human actor. And so our text begins, it is the place, which is the subject, not its inhabitants. This place is always just beginning, a remarkably bald way of expressing the postmodern refusal of history and of origins. History, after all, is just so many arbitrary fictions. Pick one, or more characteristically, don't even bother. They are equally valid and invalid. As for origins, well, that's a bigger fool's errand yet. There are no origins. Things have always been this way. Everything before this media moment is erased. This place is always just beginning. And that is so admirable. This place rouses itself in order to admire what it's made. This is the narcissism of a putrescent society in love with itself able to focus so admiringly with the invaluable aid of know-nothing postmodernism. What it's made of is never made clear. To enumerate the specifics of this empty place in all their terrifying emptiness might tend to ground the flight of this paean of admiration. Starting with nothing, another reason to admire the achievements of our place. Here, too, is the embrace of an almost total ignorance. Self-chosen ignorance at that.
Nobody will be safe if not everybody is vaccinated.
There was a looming fear of unknown settling across the nation. Phrases like social distancing and essential businesses became part of our daily communication.
Which is so important to the fact of postmodern culture as oxymoron. Starting with nothing. Never mind the unsuspecting peoples who had to be systematically sacrificed to enable the admirable wonders of today. Never mind the wondrous part of this planet that existed naturally and freely somehow prior to the glories erected by this place. Starting with nothing. No blood on anyone's hands. Skipping over the innocuous second stanza, welcome to the land that is never exactly what you think it is. Here is another cardinal postmodern tenet, the pointlessness of analysis.
Okay, so artificial intelligence, machine learning, data mining, data analysis, clustering, classification, data pre-processing, big data.
Analysis, 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 analysis.
Analysis, 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 analysis.
Analyses, which means plural of analyses, detailed examinations of elements or structure of something. Let's say it all together. Analyses, analyses, analyses. One more time. Analyses.
Analyze, 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 analyze.
Meaning is an illusion, or as the postmodern deconstructionists say, all interpretation is misinterpretation. The information society, the dream of managers and their PBS, is never exactly what you think it is. You are incapable, by definition, of understanding your subjection to power. So sit back, tube out, and we'll perfect it. In practice, the corollary is let the experts run things. Their rule and technology are inevitable and unfathomable anyway. This land also will never stay that way, the way you mistakenly thought it was, for long. More classic postmodernism. Ever-shifting signification, undecidability. Of course, it is fine that the situation is both opaque and fluid. This guarantees your perpetual ignorance and slavery. The streets of the cities we never finish building. Capital and its high-tech embodiment dwarf you and never rest. This place goes on forever.
This is PBS.
This is PBS, the Public Broadcasting Service. This is PBS, the Public Broadcasting Service. This is PBS.
The contribution of postmodernism to PBS is inestimable, as this piece of pure postmodernism makes utterly clear.
Okay, the date is June 12, 2009. This is the last broadcast. 1 minute. This is the last thing broadcasted in analog TV. Right. Okay, now we're gonna sit in front of the TV and watch it. It's gonna go out. The fucking last thing broadcasted on analog TV was Sex and the City. Historical notes. Stupidest show on the internet. Except here it comes. Here it comes. It's gonna go black. Or at least it should.